this video, I'll be talking about the testosterone killing foods that you're probably eating on a daily basis, and you probably even think that they're boosting your testosterone levels. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a list of the foods that you should be eating instead to boost your testosterone levels naturally. So stay till the end and let's get into it. So here is the list of the testosterone lowering foods. You can take a screenshot, and also I'll give you the link down below on how to access this. So let's get into it, and I'll go over every single one of them and I'll explain to you why it is and things like that. So when you see some of the foods, they're highlighted in blue. So the reason why is because you can just click on it like so, and it goes into more deeper document studies and things like that. So yeah, the first one we have, and it's really detrimental to your testosterone levels, are polyunsaturated fats like canola oil, soy oil, corn, sunflower, safflower, cottonseed, grapeseed, flaxseed, fish oils, margarine, even black seed oils, things like that, which are highly unstable, promote inflammation, suppress thyroid, damage mitochondrial function. And fundamentally, the best way you can understand it is, as a man, in your testicles, you store unsaturated properties. If it gets to, and that's why it's away from the body, because if it was close to the body, it would oxidize and cause oxidative stress. And those are just unsaturated, which could be monounsaturated, but these, the ones I just mentioned, are polyunsaturated, so they're even more easier to oxidize and things like that. So consuming those can cause a lot of issues. Some say, oh, but I get like anti-inflammatory benefits. I think the benefits that you're getting from those are the immune suppressant effects. So PUFAs are able to suppress your immune system. This is why surgeons use them in transactions like a organ transplant to stop the immune system from flaring up. So rather than actually lowering inflammation, you're lowering if you have a car, the engine light is on, instead of fixing the issue, just turning off the light, but the issue is still there. So completely avoiding polyunsaturated fats would be the greatest thing you can do to your testosterone levels. When it comes to repeat, this was the number one thing that repeat always was against. So avoid polyunsaturated fats. And like I said, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a list of foods you should be eating, what fats, things like that. So don't worry. So next, we have nuts and seeds. A lot of guys, especially when you get into testosterone optimization, they think nuts boost testosterone levels, things like that. When I got into testosterone optimization, I used to eat a lot of nuts, things like Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts, which aren't as bad. Even peanut butter, which isn't even a nut, it's a legume, which are very high in polyunsaturated fats. So nuts are very high in PUFAs and often contain enzyme inhibitors and mold toxins like phytic acid, things like that, that prevent you from absorbing micronutrients, which long term will create micronutrient deficiencies, which will lower your testosterone, especially harmful when raw or unsoaked. Next, we have legumes. So lentils, black beans, kidney beans, soybeans, chickpeas, tofu, tempeh, hard to digest, estrogenic. Some say, oh, they're just phytoestrogens, so it's not anti-estrogenic. When it comes to soy, it's not just the phytoestrogens, it also has 5-alpha reductase inhibitors. So it's stopping the conversion of testosterone into DHT, DHT being the more powerful androgen that will boost your androgens, like the characteristics and all the benefits that guys are looking for. Hard to digest estrogenic contain lectins and anti-nutrients. Soy in particular estrogenic and thyroid suppressive. Next we have whole grains and bran. So wheat bran, brown rice, oats, quinoa, barley, buckwheat contain phytic acid, fiber overload, which will feed the endotoxin, the gram-negative bacteria, and endotoxin promoting compounds. Whey peat preferred refined, low residue carbs like white rice or white potatoes, consumed with a saturated fat like butter or coconut oil. Next, you have cruciferous vegetables, especially raw: broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, bok choy. Contain goitrogens that suppress thyroid and interfere with iodine utilization. I remember when I got into testosterone optimization, I used to make like smoothies in the morning with like kale, and then I would get extremely cold and wonder what's wrong. But I was like blindly following whatever an expert told me online, rather than having self-awareness of how does this affect me. So always when you implement new variables into your lifestyle, check, does it actually benefit me? Or am I gaslighting myself into thinking this is good because someone told me so? So always be self-aware of how something is affecting you. And especially with checking your temperature and heart rate, which you can get a non-biased review, because sometimes maybe something is going on in your life. You might think that this is causing that or whatever. You can get an objective reaction, whether a food is positively or negatively affecting you, by either having a controlled diet and implement variables and see how you feel. You can also look at the changes in your temperature and heart rate and things like that. So that's the benefit of that. Then raw leafy greens like spinach, chard, colored greens, arugula, high in oxalates and hard on the kidneys and gut. Also, when it comes to these vegetables and things like potatoes, carrots, they're not vegetables, they're roots. Things like tomatoes, cucumbers, they're fruit. So vegetables are the green leafy part, and they're very high in cellulose, and we don't have the enzyme to digest it, and it feeds the gram-negative bacteria and things like that. Next, processed foods and additives. So MSG, aspartame, preservative, colorings, emulsifiers. Also pay attention to things like carrageenan, which you find in like dairy products, ice creams and things like that, which are neurotoxic and damaging to digestion and liver health. Next, fermented soy in fake health foods. Miso, natto, tempeh, texture vegetable proteins, which are estrogenic, high in PUFAs and gut irritating. Next we have alcohol, especially beer and wine, estrogenic, liver toxic, and interferes with blood sugar regulation. And overall alcohol, occasional distilled spirits like vodka may be tolerated better. It's even biblical that having a little bit of like alcohol for your stomach's sakes to help your infirmities. Let me just show you the verse. Drink no longer water, but use a little wine for your stomach's sakes, and thine often infirmities. So good quality wine. And yeah, next, other things that are rapid. I'm not sure if he mentions those things 100%, but this is just what I've seen from research and things like that. Like licorice, very estrogenic. Mint, I made videos on this. Green tea can be extremely testosterone lowering and estrogenic. Also flax seeds. Next, overcooked or grilled meats. This is more personal for people who have gut issues. So charred proteins create byproducts like heterocyclic amines and lipid peroxide. So you have to be extremely cautious. And that being said, what foods should you be eating instead? So because of that, I created this. So if you go to this website here, it goes over all the foods you should be eating. I'm not going to go over this right now, but it goes over everything, and the link I just went over is here, the foods you should be avoiding. And this website is completely free. I'll leave a link down below. And yeah, so carbohydrates, all of those things, protein. And I created this so no one has an excuse not to get started on their results, which is just if someone just avoids the problematic foods, consumes these foods, and eats in a caloric maintenance, let's say. So take your weight in pounds, multiply by 15. So if you're 200 pounds, multiply by 15, that's 3,000 calories. And you eat 3,000 calories a day from these approved foods. So if you eat maintenance, so whatever your weight in pounds by 15, and you eat that, you will feel so much better than you are probably now. A lot of people fall into shiny objects like supplements, shiny object syndrome, this and that. But the most important thing is fueling your body. If you're in a caloric deficit because you're running on stress hormones and your appetite is suppressed, no supplement is gonna stop the gluconeogenesis because you're not consuming enough carbohydrates. Your cortisol is gonna be high, things like that. So optimizing that is gonna be your highest ROI, the 20% that will get you 80% of the results. So that being said, I'll leave a link down below, and yeah, peace.